My girlfriend, female 21, rejected my male 21 proposal because it didn't meet her expectations. Plus updates. Original post. For context, my girlfriend and I have been together for 6 years, and over Thanksgiving weekend, I took her on a week-long trip to Hawaii with the intention of proposing to her. I even asked her parents for their blessing and showed them the ring a couple of days before we left for the trip. We've talked about marriage before and agreed to want to marry each other, so the idea of it isn't new and is actually a frequent topic. The issue is that she wanted a grand wedding proposal, similar to the ones you might see on TikTok or Instagram. Big "marry me" letters on the beach, rose petals on the ground, lights, mariachi, etc. I was absolutely on board with doing that for her if it made her happy, but that was something to plan at a beach back home, since I didn't have the resources to organize it during a trip to a place we've never been before. Especially because we booked everything as a last-minute vacation just 5 days prior. Ironically, after she sent me videos of people vacationing in Hawaii. I thought this would be a great opportunity though. I planned to propose on the day we arrived. I carried a ring in my pocket all day, waiting for a good opportunity to ask her, knowing it wouldn't be the grand proposal she'd hoped for, but I thought given the circumstances, she'd still be happy. However, we had some completely unnecessary arguments, and I decided to postpone it because I didn't want to propose after a bitter day. On the second day, we booked a reservation to go parasailing. I didn't want to risk losing the ring, so I left it back at the hotel. We didn't get back to the hotel until around 5 p.m., and we started getting ready to go back out into the city. By this time, it was already starting to get dark. She said before that she'd want a sunset proposal, and knowing I couldn't organize all the other things she had in mind, the sunset was the only element I could focus on. I missed my chance on that, but we still went out to dinner and drinks. We came back to the hotel afterward because she was tired. I was too. It was an eventful day. I let her rest for a bit, and around 10:30 p.m., I convinced her to go on a night walk with me at the beach. This was when I planned to propose. We go to the beach. The city was still very much awake, and the lights of the buildings and streets, combined with a bright moon, illuminated the ocean beautifully. We stood there hugging and kissing, both knowing it was a beautiful and intimate moment. I started telling her how much I love her and how I want to be with her my entire life, etc. As I started to get on one knee and reach into my pocket for the ring, she stopped me. "I hope you're not about to propose to me right now. This isn't what I expected." My heart dropped. I got back up and stood speechless before starting to walk back to the hotel. I was in no mood to talk about the situation and told her we should discuss it tomorrow. We talked about it the next day and she insisted I do it again, but this time the right way during sunset. I told her I couldn't do that because she had already rejected me. She told me she didn't reject it, just that it wasn't how she wanted it to happen. We spent the next 4 days in Hawaii in a very tense state, but we had to deal with it until we got back home. We lived together, and for the first night, she stayed at her parents' house. She's back now, but I don't want to be at home with her there. What can be the outcome of this situation? I obviously didn't want this to happen during our vacation, but I can't see it any other way. Is this a valid reason for me not to want to be with her anymore? I also don't think it's right for me to redo the proposal. Now for the top comments before reading the updates. There's a chance you don't get past this, but my first thought is that it foreshadows a very demanding partner. Does she have other unrealistic expectations about money, cars, vacations, clothes, etc.? Those can be real detriments to living as partners together. You're 21. Yes, some marriages work that early, but most don't. Your brain hasn't even fully developed, generally by age 25. Marriages aren't about grand gestures. They're about shared values, having each other's backs, and being ready to be there through thick and thin. The right partner won't care about the perfect moment, what time of day or night, or whether they're on a beach or anywhere else. She sounds superficial AF. Move on and find someone who is deeper than a puddle. She's ungrateful, plain and simple. Being in Hawaii wasn't enough for her. She said she wanted grand, but no one around. She wants it at sunset on the beach. Everyone and their grandmother would be there. She seems like someone who always wants more. Please reconsider marrying her. This is a glimpse into your future. You want to marry a high-maintenance princess? Your proposal was beautiful. Your proposal was beautiful. And even as a lady, your +1 sounds so high maintenance. I see it all about her, but what's there about you? A marriage is not just about her. Maybe you are not enough for her right now. What if after bitterly accepting your subpar proposal now, she finds someone else who is within her expectations in the future? Will she then regret it? What if other things did not meet her expectations? Life is not a bed of roses. It sounds like she will never be happy enough in a life with you. Red flag, red flag. Think hard about what kind of marriage life you want, man. If the proposal isn't appropriately timed and grandiose, then what about the wedding and marriage? Not every moment has to be Instagram social media obtusely outrageous for likes and clicks. Moments can be private and just filled with love, respect, and emotion. I think you may need to reevaluate, as it sounds like she has different expectations. A different expectation for a proposal can be a window into your future. Yeah, that was the argument the previous night was about. It was our first dinner there, and she was glued to her phone taking pictures, posting, messaging her friends, etc. I told her about it and to put the phone down, and she retaliated, saying as a girl, that's how she is, and I should accept that. I felt like I was eating alone. I may be wrong here, but you realize the wedding planning is gonna be crazy, right? She's going to go full bridezilla and want the perfect social media wedding. Crazy thing is, she says she doesn't want anything too big. Now for the first update. So we had another conversation about it once she came back home from her parents. She's still adamant that I failed to meet her expectations. Admittedly, I understand that I didn't do any of the things she had visualized. I want to emphasize that we're young, and the proposals she's seen on social media are nothing but trends. These proposals have only become popular in the last year or two. Before that, she told me she wanted an intimate proposal, especially away from the public. People are telling me I'm wrong because I knew exactly what she wanted and didn't do it. She also tells me that a proposal is solely about the woman and what she wants. I think that's BS. I know I told her that I was on board with her fantasy proposal, yet I changed my mind about it. I didn't want to plan this huge thing at our hometown beach just for the spectacle of it. I preferred to do it in a way I knew we'd both enjoy. In Hawaii especially. Something that really bugs me is that she says I made the trip seem like just another trip. Nothing crazy or out of the ordinary. This was literally our first vacation flight together. The same day this happened, we had brunch, went parasailing, and had a wonderful teppanyaki dinner. Am I selfish for changing the whole proposal without consulting her? I don't understand why some people say I'm selfish for not doing what she wanted. I still did something that objectively should make any woman ecstatic. My focus now is shifting from wondering if it's okay for me to break up with her for turning me down to wanting to break up with her for her ungratefulness in general. Another reason why she said it wasn't up to her expectations was because we were both dressed casually. She wanted me to give her prior notice that something special was going to happen by telling her to get glammed up. Note: to the people asking why I couldn't propose the next day at sunset, another requirement for her proposal was for her dog to be there, which she told me that same minute after saying it wasn't what she expected. She absolutely adores this dog and has always told me she wants him to be the ring bearer at our wedding. Sure thing, if it makes her happy. I really don't mind. The issue is, she also wanted a dog to be there for the proposal, which I was absolutely unaware of, and obviously wouldn't take the dog with us. She was just too focused in how she wanted the proposal, rather than being excited about being with me. Second update. We had a breakup talk. My girlfriend has always been a bit self-centered. I've known that and have been able to put up with it. About 4 months ago, she started having therapy sessions. I don't know how long they last, what days they are, or what they talk about. I do know that she has become an entirely different person. She's been more compassionate and cooperative with me, the things I've always wished for her to be more of. This caused me to be fully ready to commit to a life with her, hoping this new mentality was permanent. Anyway, she talked to her therapist and told me that she asked her one question. "Do you like surprises?" She tells her of course she does. She explains to her that, as her boyfriend, I most likely knew that and was trying to do something heartfelt and unscripted. No mariachi, glamorous dress, or big letters, just us two. Her therapist further told her that if she truly felt in her heart that she wanted to live a life with me, all the superficial stuff shouldn't matter. She apologized to me, telling me she really regrets how she acted and assuring me she would have said yes anyway. My biggest regret is I'll never really know what she would have said. Though in my gut, I'm not 100% sure she would have said yes. Her first thoughts during that moment were completely dismissive of me and disrespectful, something that, for once, I feel like I can't take anymore. I'm standing my ground, telling her I've swallowed my pride way too many times in the past and we should go through with a breakup. I'll be sleeping on a couch. She'll be packing her things tomorrow and going to live with her parents. Proposals shouldn't have drama and be the perfect moment of one's life, but sometimes it isn't the case. Young love is definitely something, huh? I proposed while eating dinner at the table on an idle Tuesday, and I originally asked her out straight after she brought me a pie, which I immediately vomited up, turned to her, and asked, "Wanna go out?" at a gas station when she was giving me a ride home after I was drunk at a work bash. That was 20 years ago. This wonderful woman said yes both times. I absolutely don't deserve her. My husband dropped the ring in my wine glass, thinking I would see it. But it had been a rough day at work, so I slammed it, choked on my ring, and had to throw it back up. Dignity and grace I am not. Good times. My brother put our mom's ring in a handmade box our cousin gave him. The box had a special magnetic lock, except he lost the magnet that opened the box and couldn't get hold of a replacement, so he had to first be like, "There's a ring in this box. I'll give it to you once I figure out how to open it again. Will you marry me?" Luckily, he and sister-in-law's dad were able to undo the hinges to open the box. I don't know what he'd have done if that hadn't worked. I am 100% telling his daughter that story among others, once she's older. My boyfriend planned to propose on a trip to Budapest. That evening before our departure, he started panicking, wondering, what if I'm asked to open my suitcase before boarding? What if she sees the ring before I ask? What if... He panicked and decided to ask me on the spot instead. Back then, I was struggling with an abusive manager at work. I had had a terrible day and was stressed eating old Doritos leftovers while sitting on a sofa. I was filthy, sweaty, and covered in crumbs. My hair was dirty and up in a messy bun. Not the cute Pinterest messy bun, but more like a psycho under a bridge with matted hair bun. When I saw my boyfriend kneeling next to our second-hand sofa in our teeny tiny apartment, I couldn't believe it. He wants to marry me? Even when I look like this? My brain collapsed, and I admit the first thing I managed to say was, "Oh no, I want to kiss you, but it's going to taste like old Doritos," or something along those lines. He laughed and said it didn't matter, and we kissed while crying. That was 8 years ago. We are still happily married and have 2 wonderful kids. He is still my best friend and still makes fun of me because I didn't see the proposal coming, even after he played the Lord of the Rings soundtrack to cue me in on the imminent ring coming. I love him to pieces. Wanting to marry somebody who looks their best while on the most romantic spot is easy. Find somebody who sees you at your worst and still can't wait to marry you. Last story. Am I the a-hole for breaking up with my girlfriend of 6 months 2 days before her birthday? I, 27 male, broke up with my girlfriend, 25 female of 6 months, who kept calling me an idiot, retard, etc. She first started doing it a couple of months ago, and I told her respectfully that it bothered me. I explained that I had dealt with this in a prior relationship and did not take it lightly, even if it's meant as a joke. She said okay, but gave off a reaction that made it clear she still thought I was overreacting. After that, she would slip up and accidentally say it, then follow up with something like, "Oh, I'm sorry you don't like that," and try to move on as though it was nothing. I ignored it until a few weeks ago when I got fed up and still respectfully told her that if she persisted, I would ignore things she had told me were important to her. She was offended by what she called a threat, and we had our first fight. We both apologized and agreed to do better. That evening, she slipped up again and called me a pea-brain. I ignored it but went to bed feeling angry and sad. The next morning, she slipped up again and said retard. I'm not a physical person, nor do I shout or yell, but I need time to myself when I'm mad, so I left her and went to the living room. She started weeping profusely and accused me of emotional manipulation. At that point, we had our second fight, and I told her she was at fault. We kind of made up, but I wasn't feeling 100%. So I told her the next day that this was a deal breaker for me if it happened again. She agreed, and I thought the issue was resolved. Yesterday, she called me an idiot over nothing. I just left and took some time for myself. She sent me messages saying I was punishing her with my silence and that I was overreacting for not wanting to hear her apology and accept that this is hard for her to control. Today, I broke up with her and felt super crappy about it since her birthday is just a few days away. Her rant during the breakup was so insulting and infuriating. She called me overtly sensitive, manipulative for not wanting her apology, and said that her patience and acceptance of my erectile dysfunction problems of late should be met with the same patience and support for her struggling not to call me an idiot or retard. She even said my ego is too big to accept any mistakes. I told her that, evidently, we have massively differing views on this, and breaking up appears to be the best course of action in the end. So Reddit, am I the a-hole here? Edit 1. Just to answer what a lot of you have asked, no, she does not have Tourette's, but most likely some kind of defiance syndrome. 2. The ED started before her, but her behavior and being controlling in bed did not help. 3. To all the dudes in the comments telling guys like myself to just be a man, stop. Just stop what you're doing and move on. This thread isn't for you, but hopefully for someone who's dealing with the same stuff I did and or worse. Instead of belittling people like my ex did, do some good karma and make someone else feel empowered enough to end their suffering and get help. Or if you can't do that, then make some karma by not saying or doing anything. Now for the comments. Nope, douche canoe deserved to be set free. Maybe she can learn how to treat people better. I doubt she'll get it though, not the a-hole. Good luck to you. Thank you. Yeah, hopefully she learns, but I doubt that. From the looks of our last convo, she's determined that this is just me throwing a hissy fit over a minor accident. You're not the a-hole. Setting boundaries is essential in any relationship, and it sounds like you communicated your feelings clearly. It's unfortunate that she didn't respect your request and continued to belittle you. Ending the relationship was a tough but necessary decision for your well-being. Thank you. Honestly, I hate being the one who makes someone else feel bad. And it was so unfortunate that this had to happen 2 days before her birthday. But judging from her reaction during the breakup today, I'm glad I did it. Hell no, not the a-hole by any stretch. She wants a retard, let her find one.